Hello everyone, I'm Kay from Quirks by Kay, crochet designer and coach. Welcome back to our Hooked by Kay series of crochet tutorials brought to you in collaboration with Ganga. I'm completely obsessed with spring designs right now. There's something about the blooming flowers and the vibrant colors that just makes me want to crochet everything into a garden. I also wanted to say a massive heartfelt thank you for all the love you showed my last project, the sunflower tape measure and AirPods case. Your feedback was so inspiring that I knew I couldn't stop there. I felt I had to create a bigger, bolder accessory to complement those mini makes, which is how today's project, the sunflower bucket bag, was born. Now, let's talk about the blueprint of the bag. For a bucket bag to actually look like a bucket bag, it needs structure. That's why we are using Ganga Acrywool's Desire yarn. Desire is a premium acrylic yarn, which is a game changer for bags. It's durable and can withstand multiple washes. Since our bags inevitably touch floors or outdoor surfaces, we need that resilience. To get that stiff, sturdy bucket shape, I've used 2 strands of Desire held together. And to ensure that this shape lasts a lifetime, I've paired a double stranding yarn with a smaller than usual crochet hook. This creates the super tight tension so that the bag won't sag and lose its structural integrity no matter how much you stuff inside. Plus, Desire comes in an incredible range of colors, so while I'm making a sunflower bucket bag, feel free to pick your own palette and get creative. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll figure the structural foundation with the bag base and the bag body. Then, we'll engineer the wide opening mesh and the drawstring. We'll add leaves to give those organic leafy details. Fourth, the assembly, where we'll attach the sunflower case from our previous tutorial to complete the look. A quick tip on how to watch the video. Throughout the video, I will be showing written instructions and mini charts in the bottom right corner. If you find reading patterns or charts a bit tricky, don't worry. Just pause the video at any time to study the chart and the text at your own pace. And if you want the full document, I've put a link to the free written pattern in the description box below. We're going to be using Desire, which is 100% acrylic yarn, falls under the Aran weight category, that is 4 medium, and the recommended hook size for this yarn is 5.5. However, we are going to use 2 strands of this yarn with a 4.5 mm hook so that our bag base and bag body are super tight and sturdy and do not sag over time. We're also going to need a pair of scissors, a tape measure, stitch markers, and you can get a pair of magnets. Also, in the last video, I showed you how to make a sunflower case for AirPods or tape measures or stitch markers, and I'll show you how we can use this for our bag that we are making today. Additionally, you will also need a 3.5 mm hook. To make the bag base more sturdy, we are going to be using double strands of the bag base color. Grab the yarn in your yarn hand. In my case, I'm using my left hand to grab the yarn and I will be using my right hand to hold the hook. The hook that we are going to be using is a 4.5 mm crochet hook. Now I make the shape of the letter P, holding the intersection. I insert the hook into my small ring there and grab the working yarn and pull it out of the ring. The magic circle is almost formed but not locked yet. The minute I put this chain, my magic circle is now locked. As you can see, when I pull onto the tail ends of the yarn, the circle grows or tightens. Now I will make one more chain, that is 2 chains, and we'll start putting double crochets into the magic circle. Make sure that your tension is extremely tight because we don't want the bag base to sag, which is why we are also using double strands. I've put my first double crochet. Go ahead and mark this. We will be marking the first stitch of every row because that's where we're going to be making the slip stitch at the end of the row. This helps us not make any mistakes and not miss that stitch. This is the first double crochet and I have marked it. Now I will continue putting more double crochets into the magic circle. I will be putting a total of 12 double crochets into this circle. Remember, this hook is smaller than what is recommended for this yarn, but we are using a smaller hook because we want a tighter base. Keep on making double crochets into the circle. Now I have 12 double crochets into the magic circle, counting from the one that was marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I will close the circle. Make sure to be gentle when you're pulling onto the tail. Now I'm going to remove the marker. In that same marked stitch, I will put my slip stitch. This is where the marker was. Putting a slip stitch right there. This finishes row number 1. As you can see, the circle is very sturdy, so our back base is not going to sag. Now we will start growing the circle with each row. For the next row, again start with chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch in any of the rows. Where I just made the slip stitch, right there I will now put 2 double crochets. 2 double crochets means a double crochet increase. So this is my 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And before I proceed, I will mark that first stitch. That's where we're going to be making the slip stitch at the end of the row. Now, I will continue putting 2 double crochets in each of the stitches. The chain 2 does not count. This is the first increase, second increase, and when you are done with all the increases, you should end up with 24 double crochets. Slip stitch in the first stitch that is marked. As you can see, I have 24 double crochets. You can start counting from the marked stitch and count. Make sure you have a 24 double crochet count. Chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Now, once again, remove the marker and make a slip stitch where the marker was. This completes row number 2. To begin row number 3, once again, I'm going to start with chain 2. This does not count as a stitch. In the same spot, I'm going to make 1 double crochet. Again, 1 more double crochet in the same stitch. So I have 2 double crochets. This is my first increase, and I'm going to mark that first double crochet. That's where we'll be making the slip stitch. We have to grow the circle in size. So for this round, we are going to make 1 increase, 1 regular double crochet, again an increase, then a regular double crochet. We'll keep alternating. So this is a regular double crochet, just 1. Then in the next stitch, again, make an increase. An increase is 2 stitches in the same stitch. So I have 1 increase in the first stitch, then a regular double crochet, again an increase, again a regular double crochet, and as you can see, increase, regular double crochet, increase, regular double crochet. We are going to continue doing this all around, and we'll end with 36 stitches for row number 3. Then slip stitch in the marked stitch. So I've finished row number 3. Now begin row number 4. Chain 2 again. Remember, this does not count as a stitch. Now the last row we started with an increase. So this row we will not start with an increase, making just 1 regular double crochet in that first stitch. So I've put my first double crochet regular. I'm going to put an increase in the next. Let me first mark the first double crochet of this row. Now I'll put 1 regular double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So I have one increase, one regular double crochet, another regular double. Once again, an increase in the next stitch. Again, one regular double crochet in the next stitch, another regular double crochet in the next stitch. For now, we will not count this because our row will essentially start from here where we have one increase, regular double crochet number 1 and 2. So this is the set that is repeating. Increase, regular double crochet 1 and 2. Repeat that all around. You will end up with one double crochet in the last stitch. Now we are at the end of row number 4, and as you can see, between the first increase here and the last increase, we have one double crochet that we've marked, that we made at the beginning, and there is one more double crochet that is being made in the last stitch here. Once I make the slip stitch in that first stitch that was marked, this is the chain 2 that we're not counting. You see between the first increase right here, we have, as is, between the next two increases, 2 double crochets, next 2 increases, again between 2 increases we have 2 double crochets. So everything sits symmetrically. Now for row number 5, once again, start with 2 chains, and this time we will begin the row with an increase. So in that first stitch, first increase. Now after the increase, because in the previous row we had 2 double crochets, in between increases we had 2 double crochets, this time we're going to make 3 double crochets. So there is the first one more in the next. Remember, we want the stitches to be very tight. This is the set that we are going to be repeating. Increase, crochet number 1, repeat it all around. Every row we are adding 12 stitches. We started with 12 double crochets, then added 12, so it became 24 for round 2. Then we added 12 again, so it became 36 for round 3. Then we had 48 for the 4th round. Now for 5th round, 48 plus 12 will give us 60. So we'll have 60 stitches, and after that we will make a slip stitch in the first stitch. After row 5, I have about 6 inches of bag base. We are going to be building the body, for which the slip stitch of that last row, row number 5, is going to be made in the back loop only. This is the first stitch. I'm going in the back loop and making the slip stitch right there. Starting row number 1 for the body of the bag, I make 2 chains. Again, this is not going to be counted as a stitch. Then I make my double crochet number 1, again using only the back loop, and I'm marking that double crochet. That's where we'll finish the round. Now we're going to be making linked double crochets for the bag body, so that we again don't get holes, for which right here on the double crochet you'll see this slanted bar. We're going to pick up that bar with the hook, just like that, and pull a loop out of it. This acts as the first yarn over for the double crochet. Now going in the next stitch, once again grabbing only the back loop, I pull out my yarn over number 2. I have 3 loops on the hook, pulling out of first 2 as we do for a regular double crochet, then pulling out of next 2 to finish that double crochet. This is our linked double crochet number 1. Once again, we have that slanted bar right there. We'll pick up our first loop through that bar, and then pick up the next loop going in the back loop, picking up the next loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This is how you're going to be making double crochets all around. You will end up with 60 double crochets. That's not counting this chain 2 and slip stitch in the first double crochet. That would complete our row number 1 for the back body. Here I have almost finished the first row of the body, and you can see it's already standing vertical. Removing the marker and putting on that slip stitch. This finishes our row number 1 for the back body. Starting row number 2 of the back body, once again we start with 2 chains, and these chains will not be counted as a stitch. This is the first stitch that we are supposed to be working in, but instead we will make a double crochet in the next stitch, stitch number 2 of the previous row, going in and making a double crochet. This is our stitch number 1, so I'm going to put a marker right there. Now in that skipped stitch, we'll make a double crochet, going backwards in that skipped stitch and pulling out the yarn from there and creating our second double crochet. Once again, skip the next stitch. In the stitch after that, make 1 double crochet. Now make a double crochet in that skipped stitch. As you can see, we are overlapping the double crochets. Let me put in a few more. Skip the next stitch, work in the stitch after that, make a double crochet, then go back into that skipped stitch and make the double crochet again. This is how we're going to get overlapping double crochets, and we'll do this all around and slip stitch back into the first double crochet, removing the marker and making the slip stitch. That completes the row number 2. So the back body is going to be made of 2 rows. One row is the linked double crochet and the other is the crisscross DC row, and we'll keep repeating these alternatively to get the height of the bag. I'm repeating the linked double crochet row, only this time we'll be using the full stitch, not just the back loop. I've already made my 2 chains, going back in that same stitch as the slip stitch and making the first double crochet. Now I'll pick up the slanting bar and bring a loop out of it. Then go in the next stitch and bring out 1 more loop. So I have 3 loops on the hook. Pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That completes our second double crochet. I'll mark the first one so we don't forget where the slip stitch is to be made. And continuing to work linked double crochets in each of the stitches. We're going to be working the linked double crochet exactly how we did for row number 1, only this time we're using the full stitch. Working this all around and then slip stitching in that marked stitch. Instead of going in the marked stitch, I'm going in the stitch after that. So in the second stitch, I will insert my hook from the wrong side, coming to the front, and grab my yarn and pull it to the wrong side of the work. Now I'm going to remove the stitch marker. So as you can see, the last stitch after cutting the yarn is going in the second stitch, going back in the last stitch of the work. Again, inserting the hook from the wrong side of the work through the stitch, and now grabbing the yarn, pulling it again to the wrong side of the work. This creates a dummy stitch which replaces the first stitch that we had marked. So all the stitches sit neatly and look identical. There is no extra stitch on the last round. Now, once you have the yarn coming out from the wrong side of the work, you can weave the yarn in. I'm going to weave it in through the stitches underneath. We have a total of 60 stitches all around. Now we shall make the closure for the bag along with the drawstring. Now to start with the bag closure, we are going to make a slip knot. We're going to make double crochets all around, once again using the back loop only. Now this is how I start a row of double crochets directly. Yarn over, hold that yarn over, pick up any of the back loops. Remember, we have used double strands of yarns for the bag body, so you will have two strands in the back loop. Yarn over and bring a loop out, then complete your double crochet as usual. This is your first double crochet. As you can see, the tail is at the top of the stitch, not at the bottom. Now continue making double crochets in each of the back loops. And don't forget to mark that first stitch. Continue making double crochets all around and then slip stitch in the marked stitch as usual. I've completed the full round of double crochets. Now making the slip stitch, removing the marker. Now going in that marked stitch and making a slip stitch as usual. Now that we've completed the first row, we'll start our second row of the mesh, which is a chain 4. So the chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, and we'll one more chain, that is chain 4. Now make a double crochet, skipping the next stitch, double crochet in the stitch after that. This is the third stitch. This is what crochet number 1 on top of double crochet number 1 from the previous row. Second double crochet skip, again double crochet on stitch number 3. Now chain 1 again, double crochet, skipping the next stitch, double crochet in the stitch after that. When I'm making this double crochet, I'm going to let the yarn tail come on top of the hook. This way the yarn tail is automatically getting wrapped within my stitches and I don't have to weave it in after I've finished my work. So every time we are skipping one stitch, chain 1 on top of it. This is how we are going to create a mesh. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, in the stitch after that, bringing the tail on top of the hook, make a double crochet. Keep doing this all around and then I'll show you how to make the slip stitch. Here now I have completed row number 2, slip stitch, chain 1 after the last double crochet. Now count chains 1, 2, 3 and in the third chain make a slip stitch. Remember, when making the slip stitch, you should have 2 loops of the chain. That's how everything sits evenly. We'll once again repeat this row. Chain 3, that acts as your first double crochet. Then make 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space. So going in the space and creating 1 double crochet. Remember, the chain 3 at the beginning of the row is acting as a double crochet. So you're going to mark the top of this chain, that is the third chain. 1, 2, 3. Marking the third chain. This is where you're going to be making the slip stitch, not in the double crochet. For the mesh, the first chain 3 for each row will be counted as a stitch. Now continue putting double crochets. So in the next double crochet, make 1 double crochet. Then once again, in the chain space, make a double crochet. Again, in the next double crochet, make a double crochet. Then a double crochet in the chain space. As you can see, we are repeating row number 1 again, after which we'll once again repeat row number 2. Slip stitch in the mark stitch. If you don't forget to put the marker in the correct position at the start of every row, you will not make any mistakes while completing the rows. So I have done 1 row of double crochets, then the mesh, again 1 row of double crochets, then I have done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of the mesh. We start with the chain 3 that counts as a double crochet, then make 2 chains, so we have a total of 5 chains, and then make a double crochet in the next double crochet. I'm just going to mark the third chain here and show you what exactly this looks like. This becomes our first double crochet. This becomes the second double crochet, and in between we have 2 chains. Here on, we're going to be making 2 chains between every double crochet. Again, 2 chains, then a double crochet, and make that all around and come back and slip stitch in the marked stitch. Here now, as you can see, I have added 2 more rows which have 2 chains in between. Now for the next mesh row, we are going to once again start with chain 3, which will act as our first double crochet, and then make 3 chains. This will be the gap in between. Then double crochet in the next double crochet. Again, chain 3, double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 3, and so on. And don't forget to mark that third chain. This is where you'll be making the slip stitch at the end of this row. Once you're done with this row, repeat the same row 2 more times. We started with a double crochet row, and then the mesh row with chain 1 gaps, which falls straight in line. The mesh row with chain 2 gaps starts to flare out the top. Now the chain 3 gap mesh row will again flare it out furthermore. So we are going to get a larger opening at the top, and when you gather it, you kind of get a nice flared out top. This is what I have. As you can see, the 3 chain gap row has given us quite a lot of flare. That's exactly what we wanted. Now let me show it to you once again. The chain 1 gap for mesh rows, we made it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Then the chain 2 gap, 1, 2 times. Chain 3 gap, 1, 2, twice. This is what we have. After the final slip stitch is done, cut the yarn. It's best to make a knot here, so I'm going to go back in the chain and pull this yarn through the chain, keeping a loop and passing the yarn through that loop. So this forms a knot. Repeat it once again. This secures the yarn in that spot. Now using a smaller hook, weave this yarn tail back into the mesh. We'll start with a magic circle. And in this magic circle, we shall put 7 single crochets. That's the first one. Second. Don't forget to mark that first single crochet. Once you have 7 single crochets, gently pull onto the tail to close the magic circle, and then put a slip stitch where that marker is. Basically, we are putting a slip stitch in that first single crochet that we made. This finishes row number 1. Starting with row number 2, make 2 chains. In the same stitch as the slip stitch, make 3 double crochets. So this is double crochet number 1, double crochet number 2, and double crochet number 3. All 3 of them made in the same spot. Don't forget to mark the first stitch. That's the first double crochet of this row. Now in the next 2 stitches, we'll make a double crochet increase each. So in the next stitch, I'll put 2 double crochets. Again in the next stitch, make 2 double crochets. This is a double crochet increase. Now in the next stitch, we'll put 3 treble crochets. We've finished one half of the leaf and reached the top. Now coming down on the other side, repeating the same stitches in reverse order. So in the next 2 stitches, I'll put the double crochet increase. and in the last stitch 3 double crochets, same as the first stitch that we started with. This is the top of the leaf. This is what we have so far. Now chain 2 and make a slip stitch in that magic circle, not in the marked stitch. We'll make a slip stitch in the magic circle. So going in and making a slip stitch. Bear in mind, I'm keeping that slip stitch very tight. Now starting row number 3, making 2 chains. In the marked stitch, I will put 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. Again, not to forget, marking the first stitch, that's the single crochet. Now in the next stitch, make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now in the next 6 stitches, we will make double crochet increase. That's 2 double crochets in each stitch. That's the first DC increase, double crochet increase. You'll repeat that in the next 5 stitches. Started from here. So this is the first DC increase, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. We have 6 DC increases. Now in the next stitch, make 3 DC again. So we have now reached the top of the leaf. Again, as we did earlier, we'll repeat these same stitches on the side in the reverse order. So I'm now going to make 6 double crochet increases. Then I will put 3 DC in the second last stitch and a half double and single crochet in the last stitch. Let's check. This is where we started with the DC increases. So this is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. After 6 double crochet increases, in the next stitch, that's the second last stitch, I'm making 3 double crochets. And then in the last stitch, 1 half double crochet and 1 single crochet in the same stitch. That makes it symmetrical. Now make 2 chains and once again slip stitch in the magic circle. Don't forget to keep the slip stitch extremely tight. Starting row number 4, again with 2 chains and in the marked stitch, make 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet in the same stitch. So this is our row number 4, first stitch, single crochet, half double crochet in the same stitch. Now in the next 5 stitches, we'll make double crochet increases. So in the next stitch, I'm beginning the increases. This is first increase, repeat this increase in the next 4 stitches, total 5 DC increases. Double check, single crochet and half double in the first stitch, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DC increases. Now in the next 12 stitches, I'll make 1 double crochet each. Before continuing, double check. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 double crochets. Now in the next stitch, I'll make 1 double crochet. Again in the same stitch, make 1 treble crochet. Then make a picot. Chain 2. Inserting the hook in the front loop and the leg of that treble crochet and completing a slip stitch. That's how you make a picot. Again, treble crochet in the same stitch and then a double crochet in the same stitch. Let me give you a recap. We put 1 double crochet, 1 treble crochet, 1 picot, again a treble crochet and a double crochet. This is what we have in the topmost stitch. Now, as we did for all the rows before this, repeat the same stitches in the reverse order. So in the next 12 stitches, I will put double crochet, 1 double crochet each. Then I will put 5 double crochet increases and end with 1 half double and a single crochet in the same stitch. That's going to be your last stitch. That's the final stitch. Now chain 2. Once again, make a slip stitch in the magic circle. This is the sunflower leaf. Now we have to make the drawstring. Without cutting the yarn on this leaf, start making a chain. The chain that you're going to be making has to be long enough to go all the way around through the mesh. Let me show you. After finishing this leaf, I started to make the chain right away, and then I have passed that chain through the mesh all the way around the bag. Once I get the chain to be long enough to go all around the bag, I cut off the yarn. Then I make one more leaf, and this leaf gets attached to the chain by simply tying a double knot. Then weave these yarn tails back into the leaf, and you shall have a drawstring with leaves at its ends. I've made 82 chains, and this easily fits around the bag. Right? This is slightly bigger than the bag circumference, so that we can pull it and tie it into a knot. Now, once the chain is long enough, cut the yarn. We have a ridge on the bag. This is going to be the back of the bag. This is where the front is. So, on the side, as you can see, if I consider this to be the back, this to be the front, these two become the sides. So, we'll start threading the chain from this side and come back around again on this side. Let us start doing that. In the second row of mesh right here, I'm starting to put the chain in and come back out. Like that. 2 DCs in between. Again, 2 DCs in between, go back in. Then come back out after 2 DCs. And this way you will thread the chain through the circumference of the bag and come back out on this side. Now, as you can see, we've covered the full circumference and we have a long enough tail to attach our next leaf. After the final slip stitch, I've cut the yarn and brought it closer to the magic circle tail. This is to be tied together first so that the magic circle doesn't unravel. These two tails, the drawstring tail and the 2 tails from the leaf, will be tied together. Weave all 3 tails back into the leaf, and this is what you should. This is how the drawstring works. You will pull and the top automatically gathers. Now prepare one more set of leaf with the drawstring and the leaf. Let me show you how I finished this leaf. The one without the drawstring. After the last step, 2 chains and the slip stitch. I make 1 chain and then cut the yarn. Pull that yarn through. Now close the magic circle tight. Now tie the 2 yarn tails together. This is what is going to be tied to the drawstring tail, but only after you've passed the drawstring through the bag. Now we've already passed the drawstring to one side. The other drawstring, this drawstring sits on this side of the bag. The other one will sit on this side. So now the back, front, one side. The other one we'll start threading in from this corner, go around and come out from this corner. The bag is all done. I've weaved in the tails, comfortably opening, comfortably closing. Remember the sunflower from the previous video? Let me show you how you can put that also with the bag. You can also use a magnet to stick the sunflower here. This end of the magnet will fit, sew this back onto the sunflower, and this one will get sewed on here, and that's how you flip the two together to sit here. And that is our sunflower bucket bag complete. I hope you enjoyed making this just as much as I enjoyed designing it. If you find this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss my projects. I also want to hear from you. So tell me in the comments what projects you want to learn next or which techniques you find most difficult. I'm here to help you bridge that gap. And when you finish your bag, do post your photos on Instagram and tag me at Quirks by K and Ganga Acro Wools and Heartbeat Yarns in your makes. Seeing your versions of my designs is the highlight of my day. Until next time, stay quirky and happy crocheting!